Hey guys, so I just wanted to touch base. Something that I wanted to talk about, anyways, for a while now, is how I feel about photography for myself. Because a lot of people tell me to take pictures. They ask me why I don't take pictures. They also ask me if I want to vlog or blog. Same. I have the same opinion towards all these things, which is that I don't believe in it. So for example, you can see there are some birds here. There were just so many birds, and it was so beautiful. And I didn't want to have my phone out. I didn't want to miss a moment of it to be getting my phone. So I have this idea of what life should really be like, and I feel like it should be each moment that you're living life. I guess what I'm saying is I feel like ideally I would never be watching a video or looking at a picture, because I could be getting more out of what was directly in front of me. And also I would never be taking a video or taking a picture, because I'd be getting more out of doing something else. And I wouldn't want to have my idea to be looking at a video and be thinking about something other than that moment. But I guess when you look at a video in the moment, then it's a different moment. But if I look at my video, then I'm thinking about the past, I mean, I am experiencing it in the present, but it has a certain quality to it that would bring up the past. But I mean, if we're saying that past and present and future don't exist, then I guess it doesn't really matter if we're taking pictures and videos and looking at them, because everything is happening at the same time anyways. I also was gonna say that when I was thinking I was going to say that I don't like taking pictures because I don't believe in it, then I was also going to say that I don't know if I really feel strongly about that. Also, I wanted to talk about Taoism a little bit, because I don't know who watches this, what your connection is with Taoism, but I think, basically, reading Tao Te Ching alone, you don't really get the full, you don't get that much out of Tao Te Ching, to be honest. Because, I mean, it's very important to many people, even these translations that are so far from the original Chinese. But when combined with other Taoist texts, you see how much of the Tao Te Ching is metaphors for alchemy, for breathing, and for ways of returning to the Tao. I mean, you can see it from a philosophical standpoint, but it's actually quite a practical religion, Taoism is. And there's it's quite clear if you read other sources. Thomas Cleary has really great translations of other Taoist texts and things from the oral tradition as well. That combined with Tao Te Ching, you start to see Taoism completely differently, because it has a lot to do with magic and a lot to do with breathing And I don't think it really ever says meditation in Tao Te Ching. So that was another point. And thirdly, I wanted to talk about music. And that when I was in high school, I made a lot of music, and I felt very shy and embarrassed about what I made because I had an idea of authenticity and professionalism, and my music wasn't sounding what I thought would sound authentic or professional. And so the stuff I was making, I just saw it as shit because it wasn't sounding clear, and it wasn't sounding strong, and it wasn't sounding crisp, and but it was music, and it is music, and that's just, if you're recording with lo-fi gear and trying to make something that isn't lo-fi music, it's still music. Even if you make a song that you really don't like, someone might really like that song. And you should respect it, Also, videos like these videos are sort of run contradictory to what I was saying before about things being authentic. No, not authentic. Things being, just wanting to live in the moment or whatever. But every time that I made videos, I wanted to enjoy making the video. There was a reason I was making it in that moment, because I wanted to be recording a video at that time. And you can still see these birds a little bit. I've been thinking about film, I've had this idea for a while. I met a girl on the internet 5 years ago or something. And she sent me this picture of herself once that really inspired me. Because it was she's a very, very beautiful girl. And she sent me this picture where her eyes looked just so dead. She just looked so depressed. But she didn't look sad, she just looked there was no way to come back. It was just gone, and yeah. I don't know, I've just wanted to make some movie with some girl like that, And the other character I've thought about is a guy who's just very I guess I feel with how do I say it, with absurd media and avant-garde would be the bigger branching term, because this applies also to music and art. There's sort of this unspoken thing that happens, but I think mostly just because people don't always have the language right at their facility to talk about what's taking place in this type of art. It's quite it's a lot easier to say like, well, I guess it's always difficult with music if you're not a musician to say what you like, but for example, like in a rock song, there's maybe a really powerful chord progression and strong guitars and drums, and you don't really understand the theory, but you can say, oh, I like this, you know, because the guitars they sound good and the drums sound amazing, you know. And when it comes to avant-garde music, yeah, there's still obviously reasons why people like it, but sometimes they're not liking it, like it's not activating the same brain chemicals as like a different kind of song from another genre. But I feel like there's something unspoken that happens when people are watching this music or watching this type of media, like an Emperor's New Clothes type of thing. Like people are just kind of going along with it. Maybe some people don't understand it, or they think they maybe understand it, but they just talk about it like, you know, they get it, you know, because it's cool to like get it. But so my character, the guy, is just someone that doesn't do that at all and is always saying like, well, you know, what the fuck is that, and sort of extends this to like strongly antisocial behavior. Is just so uninhibited and like, you know, doesn't take other people's boundaries into consideration. I guess like a Larry David type of character, but to a greater extreme. And something about this guy and then this girl is interesting to me. Like, I like that, you know, she would maybe be disappointed by this guy. That would be the basis of it, you know? Like, but she is like continuing to see him. You know, that would be the basis of it. Like she's continuing to see this guy, but is not, you know, satisfied by him. And is just increasingly depressed. I don't know about increasingly depressed, but she's, you know, like, I want to have some scene where like they're like having sex and then like he doesn't say anything to her, that like she feels unappreciated or something, and then doesn't talk to him afterwards. You know, and also that she's just always so willing to have sex with him. Like, she'll be very, very sexual with him, but is emotionally not giving anything to him, you know? I don't really know what else would happen. That's sort of why it's at a standstill. Like, I've had other ideas, general ideas, about like, yeah, like creating a perfect universe, like what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. Like, it would be always living in the moment. These types of like an ideal universe. And also like getting to set the rules to different degrees of like how far straying from this universe it is. Like, is it just everyone acts differently but the laws of science still apply, or is it like everyone acts ways that like maybe people actually would act, or like can people fly, or can, you know, how much can we change, you know? And then if we can change everything, like, what is it just we feel the highest enjoyment all the time and we live forever, you know? Because if we say like, oh, variation is better, but we could also just set the rules so variation isn't better, you know? It's an interesting question to me. I like thinking about that. And I think about that seriously too. I mean, not just as a hypothetical, but like, I feel like there's people that need to explore that, you know? Like, because if nobody is asking this question, then it's like all people are doing is trying to help suffering people, but help them get to a world that still isn't the perfect world, you know? Because if nobody's suffering, that doesn't mean we're at perfection. That means we're at nobody's suffering, you know? But that could still be tremendously lower than what we could achieve, you know? So I like that question a lot. I don't really know how that pertains yet to the boy-girl thing. I mean, this guy he's pretty dogmatic, like he's always acting in this antisocial way. Yeah. I just don't know what happens to the girl. That's what confuses me. Like, what is, like, you know, we could talk about, like, what happened in the past that she became that way, but then what happens next is I really don't know how she gets better, or if she gets better. And what happens with the guy? I mean, what happens as a result of his behavior either? Those would be the two questions of the movie, I guess. And it's complicated to write that. I've never really been in the mood to make a movie. Like, I've had the ideas, but really feeling like I'm in the mood to sit down and write is, you know, but maybe just talking it like this, like I might make another video talking about it if I have another idea about it. But at some point, it might be nice to make a movie. I maybe want to make it in Chinese also. Or with like non-native speakers speaking English. Or with native speakers, I don't know. I could just write them a lot of dialogue and just have them like one-shot it. I had another idea for a movie where I just wouldn't really plan it at all. Like, I would be totally spontaneous about it. And like, I would have an actor reading lines, and then I would just write them totally different lines. And like, just every instant, the entire premise of the whole movie could change. And that's just how it would go throughout the whole thing. Like, there would never be any set plan for anything. It would always be allowed to completely change, you know? Like, I could record it and then like cut out, you know, like 90% of it, and then like work with that, and then just keep doing it. Like, maybe there would never even be a finished movie. It would just be all the pieces of it, you know, happening. And then a similar idea I had was to do it with two people. Like, if there was two directors making a movie, and we would just always copy what we had, and then both would have complete creative control over the film, and there would just be two films that would maybe be like 80% the same movie or something, because we'd use the same footage, but you could also shoot different things for the different movies if you wanted, but also use the stuff from the other movie too. There would just be two copies of it, so you wouldn't ever change the other person's movie. You would just take whatever you wanted from it, you know? I think that might be interesting. And then there would just be two really similar movies, maybe, you know? I mean, maybe they'd be totally different, but that's not the goal. Like, I'd want it to be people that wanted to make more or less the same movie, but just wanted to be free in how they made it, but made it together, but also separately. I think that could be a really interesting idea. maybe for this boy-girl movie, maybe I could combine those two ideas. If someone wants to make this movie separately, together with me, we could do that. I just think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Pizza's really good. I like pizza. I'm kind of hungry. I just ate pizza. I've been thinking also about like authenticity in relation to myself, because I feel a lot of the times it's very difficult for me to think about things because I'm wanting to have certain thoughts or have my thoughts follow a certain path and they don't, or I'm just not feeling emotions when I'm thinking, and so my thinking is hyper abstract and I don't really get to anything, or I just feel disconnected from what I'm thinking. Like I'm just going through some process of like, you know, like a theater show of having thoughts, you know, and I'm just listening to how the thoughts sound and sort of considering them on some level, but I'm not really feeling terribly definitive, or I don't know how to say it, like they're just sort of like occurring somewhere outside of me and I'm not really participating in them, which is maybe a good thing. Like I feel like when I'm meditating, that's sort of what I want to have happen, like that they're just these things, but you know, yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, comment, like, rate, leave a comment, and comment, like, subscribe, and comment and subscribe.